Cosmology and high energy physics are not my forte, but my write up and YouTube presentations on coronavirus had concluded that Indian philosophy offers the best possible way to fight it on long term basis. Darwin's theory of evolution and Einstein's theories of relativity and some other emerging theories, like string theory, reveal only a part of the genesis of this universe and the human race. And we need to go to the Indian philosophy to get a complete answer. Well, thereafter, I have received a few queries as to how philosophy can reveal truth about this universe, which requires scientific studies and parameters, and what so many eminent scientists, Nobel laureates, and intellectuals par excellence could not find, despite painstaking efforts of decades. This is the reason for this presentation. Firstly, let us discuss the limitations of scientific discoveries, and these are the admissions of eminent scientists themselves. Firstly, they admit that they are trying to find out a complete theory of everything, a unified theory of quantum theory and relativity theory, which could throw light on the evolution of the universe or the possibility of other universes, and whether there is a possibility of its recollapse, which we called as Mahapralaya in our philosophical texts, and again reverting back to singularity with immense mass and energy. Secondly, Newton's three laws of motion may have led to industrial revolutions and our great strides in the field of physics and other fields of science, but ultimately gave way to Einstein's theories. But again, as per scientific terms and scientists, E is equal to mc square has its limitations. In certain situations, it also fails to account for the nature of the universe at its inception and can never help us to physically reach and examine those parts of even this universe which are drifting away from us with speeds more than the speed of light. So, can our theoretical calculations done on our computers and in our labs reveal the secrets of all those universes, galaxies, stars, and planets where we will never reach physically because, as per this theory, we cannot travel more than the speed of light. Moreover, we are still trying to find out the fifth force of nature, apart from the four known forces: gravitation, electromagnetism, the weak nuclear force, and the strong nuclear force, as we have not been able to find out the composition of about 90% of the universe, which we call as dark matter and dark energy. Then how can we hope to find out the true nature or the real nature and all aspects of nature? The assumption about the nature, black holes, the relativity theories, the string theory, and the initial configuration of the universe after the Big Bang, and much more, and all our scientific efforts may help us to some extent. But still, we will need to combine the other fields of science, from biology to neurobiology, from genetics to epigenetics, and from the concepts of evolution of species, the generation of life, the difference between the humans and other forms of life. We will have to find the answer whether that cockroach hiding in the dark corners of my kitchen or the monkey sitting atop a tree in my backyard are my ancestors. We have to combine the theories of physics with our knowledge as to how our brain functions, how genes switch on and off to regulate the formation of enzymes and proteins, and their content, type, and quality, which ultimately decides actions and behaviors, and our capability to decipher the true nature of atoms and the subatomic particles and many other scientific wonders. This will also require the capability to understand as to what is our memory, where we store millions of files in video, audio, and still formats, their size and format, and how this retained memory decides as to what sort of actions we are going to perform, logical or illogical, rational or irrational. We can't ignore the exceptional contributions of eminent scientists like Charles Darwin, James Watson, Francis Crick, Gregor Mendel, Hunt Morgan, and many others. But still, their concepts and theories have gaps. We still have not been able to find out that if we have evolved from monkeys and chimpanzees, or even cockroaches, then why so many of them are still there on this planet? Why all of them did not become humans? Why humans made so great strides in science and these so called ancestors of ours are still jumping on trees and doing the same actions which they were doing millions of years ago? Similarly, our findings in the fields of genetics, epigenetics, and neurobiology have not been able to find out the reasons of our actions, about our mind, about our intelligence, and the stuff of our mind and its ultimate fate after death, where it goes after the five basic constituents of human body merge into the constituents of nature from which they are made. We are groping in the dark whether the humans are a different species or fall in the same category of other creatures. If we recognize and appreciate the lifelong efforts of scientists to find out the truth, which have helped us to reach this stage of modernization, we can't ignore the contributions of prophets and sages of all religions who also spent their entire lives in search of the same ultimate truth, maybe by adopting a different path. Our efforts to develop and experiment with Hadron Collider at CERN and other places, our journeys into space, the efforts to locate and find the sources of black holes and the other stars will certainly help us to some extent. But we have to realize that we still have to find a harmonious blend of all these concepts and the theories of science with logical and well reasoned thoughts and mystic traditions of India. We ultimately have to realize and acknowledge that the concept of apara and para energies, which as per Bhagavad Gita permeate all living and non living things of all the universes, and which have been termed as Brahm, are the fifth and the sixth forms of energy. And I am repeating, these are the fifth and the sixth forms of energy and are worth giving a serious thought by the scientific community. The apara is the fifth energy, being probed by the physicists, and is that energy which comprises five basic constituents of the universe called earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and also mind, ego, and intelligence, and which maintains the equilibrium of universes and is separate from all the foreign forms of energy discovered by the scientists till date. And the para is that sixth energy which no scientist has tried to look for and which permeates all living creatures in the form of soul and also regulates its movement from one place to another and the maintenance of different forms of life. In these universes, the material substance called Mahatatav is the total cosmic manifestation in which there are three modes of nature which have been talked earlier and the knowledge of which will give the true and the whole knowledge. I know that all that cannot be revealed in this presentation, but still, if you require some more information, then you can contact me on the telephone number or my social contacts on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and other formats. Thank you.